Hey everybody, Kurt here with Cannabis.net. Again, a second live broadcast today, but this one is super special. What exactly are we looking at? Anybody wants to know, you could put your comment in here. Does anybody recognize what this product should be? And a better question would be, why are thousands of people worldwide buying this product? Well, to answer your question, this will be a great tutorial for those just getting in the niche. This is a decarboxylator called the Nova from Ardent. And I am lucky enough, and we're lucky enough to be here and talk to the founder and get a demonstration. Chanel Lindsay, how are you?
Hey everybody.
Again, we are in Massachusetts with the founder of Ardent making a decarboxylator, but I'm going to stop her before she even starts. What is decarboxylation?
So decarboxylation is the fundamental underlying process of activating cannabis. And it's necessary no matter how you're using cannabis, you are decarboxylating whether you know it or not. And even though decarboxylation is kind of a long word, maybe a little bit sciencey, you can just call it decarb for short. And what it is, it's actually activating the THC and the CBD. All of those different cannabinoids that you're looking for need to be activated in order for them to be available to your body. This is why people smoke cannabis. This is why people make pot brownies. The problem with those processes is that you're wasting a lot of THC, and it's really hard to get an accurate dose, and actually impossible before now. And so I've been a medical cannabis patient for over 16 years, making edibles, topicals to help with my own ovarian cyst. And that was the process and the procedure that led me to say, listen, this could be a lot easier. It could be really simple, even for people who have never used cannabis before. And so I went and developed a decarboxylator, and what it is it's a precision heating device. It uses multiple sensors and a thermal heating core, so a fully encapsulating heating core, in order to give lab grade decarb of your keef or your trim or your concentrate of your flower. And after you decarb, it's really as simple as just pressing a button, and we will do a decarb process. We have some really cool things to show you how to make here today. But when it comes out, you literally can make any cannabis product that you want for a fraction of the price that you pay somewhere else. And it doesn't matter if you've been doing this for 20 years or if this is your first time, you're going to get a better end product at the end. You're going to see how very simple it is. And so at Ardent, that's the name of our company, ardentcannabis.com, we are all about bringing the science to people, bringing the tools to people to help eliminate the stigma of cannabis so that more and more people can use it, whether it's for their health or for wellness purposes. And so we're going to decarb a couple of different things today. So first we're going to start off with some shatter, some concentrate.
Oh, see the thumbs up come up now and the hearts.
Yeah.
Now we got some action.
So this is some nice concentrate from Drop Top in California, and it smells delicious. And what we're going to do is, see, a lot of people know about decarbing flour, right? But we're going to show them how easy it is.
Lots of thumbs up coming in now.
to decarb a concentrate. And one thing I would suggest that people do, if you're new to decarb and you have questions, there are a lot of myths about decarb online and just generally. And that was one of the things that led me to actually developing this product, is because this is a really important process when it comes to cannabis. And we should have some science and data behind it. And yes, you do have to decarb concentrates if you're wanting to use them in topicals or edibles or suppositories or other products, and you do need to decarb flour as well, even if it has been cured. And we actually came up with this great decarb guide. We'll be talking about the data in it a little bit once we throw this in, but let me get this in here. So
all right, what are we doing?
So we're sticking this concentrate in here, and in fact, honestly, it's gotten a little sticky, so if you just give me 1 second, I'm going to throw it in the freezer for just for a sec, and we can talk about the flour in the meantime. So just how you would use the device is you take your flour, your keef or your concentrate, and put it in here, and you're going to see that when we do the concentrate, we're going to do a little something special to keep it from sticking at the bottom. And then you take this silicone cover and place it on top, and this is going to slide into the device. And like I mentioned before, we have a fully encapsulating heating core, so the heater is all around, surrounding it, which is different than if you were using an oven or a toaster oven. And it actually uses 2 precision sensors. We actually have a sensor that's embedded in the heating element on the side that you can't see. And then there's a sensor in here, which is the internal sensor. So when you press the button, what it does is it activates the firmware, the algorithm, the decarb algorithm, and it's really sensing those sensors are sensing in real time up to the precision of 1/10 of a degree, bringing it up to the right temperature, and then starting to control for that internal temperature. So it really creates these like perfect heating cycles to fully activate the THC without destroying any of it.
All right, let me stop you, ask you a question. We get this a lot. What happens if I just take a bud and eat it? Do I get high?
No. That's
Okay.
that's the whole point of this, is that, in fact, I'll give a little...
So if a child were to grab a bud and eat it, they're basically eating kale.
Exactly. It takes decarboxylation, which right here, if you can see, this is what the THCA molecule looks like. So that's what's actually in the plant. And you can see this part right here, this is the carboxyl group that keeps it from binding with your CB1 and CB2 receptors if you were to just eat it raw. It actually needs to go through this process over here, which is what we do in decarboxylation, which is removing this carboxyl group. The problem is that this is a scientific process. It's not something you can just look at and see if it has been done right. And for me, after 10 plus years of making edibles and topicals, going to the laboratories, I started this process 3 years ago by going to MCR laboratories and testing my medicine. And I was so stunned to find out that I was wasting over 30% of the available THC. And that was after me being an expert for over 10 years making these products.
All right, so you're saying going in the oven using a cheesecloth the traditional way is wasting roughly, easily 30%, if not more, of your THC.
Absolutely.
Got it.
And if people are interested, we do have our decarb guide online where they can go and take a look at the testing that we've done on the oven, where you see it's very easy to get lost. It's also very easy not to fully decarb everything. So you need two things when you're decarbing. You want to fully convert from the acid form, but then you want to make sure that you're not burning off. And that's what we saw in the lab when we were doing the development for the device, is that some people were coming in and they were literally burning 80, 90, 100% of the THC off, and we're left with nothing. So this process is really important for anything that you want to do.
So too much heat for too long means THC gets burnt off.
Correct.
Got it.
And even in the sense of a crock pot, which is what my preference was, because a crock pot is much more even heating than an oven. But what we saw is that the crock pot actually never gets hot enough to fully decarb. A crock pot, water boils at 212 degrees and actually even lower and higher altitudes, and you see that you can't get full conversion, and then you still burn some off. So it's really a very fickle process, and we, after all the testing that we were able to do, were able to design something that would get the perfect decarb every time. So I think that this is probably ready now. So I mentioned if we were using flour, we would just put it right inside, but you can always take a little glass container or silicone container, especially if you're using a wax or a shatter, and put it in there just so when it comes out it will be really easy to clean up. And one thing I love about using wax and shatter and rosin particularly is how easy it is to blend and make anything after it comes out, because it's literally like a little sauce. So you could put it in spaghetti sauce, or make a pizza out of it. You could do anything that you wanted to do. So put some in here. And let's think about if we're putting half a gram of shatter in there, or let's say, just for argument's sake, we're putting a gram in there, and it's 60% THCA. When it comes out, you're going to have close to 600 milligrams of THC in this. So think about how many different cannabis products you could make with just a little bit.
Hey, Lucci, I see you on there. Chanel's company sells it, Ardent. You can buy these online. Cannabis.net is not selling them or getting any cut of a profit. We're just doing a really great piece talking about how the decarboxylation works. And a lot of people have fears out there about kids eating raw marijuana or raw cannabis and people getting high, but it's actually not true. And we like to go over the scientific process of what has to happen to the actual plant in order to activate that THC.
So we put it inside, now we're going to slide it in and press the button. That's going to start the heating cycle.
That's it. So it goes in, hit the button. Roughly how long?
So the entire decarb process, that's the heat up, the decarb, and the cool down time. Again, those sensors are sensing in real time what's happening. So it's going to vary between about 1 hour and 40 minutes and 2 hours for that entire process. So I have some juicy fruit that we decarbed earlier.
Okay, so we're
Some
pulling a little
flour.
cooking show trick here.
Yes.
I had Chanel do a little decarboxylating, so we don't take an hour online here, but we can see what it looks like.
Yep, so we have some juicy fruit that just came out a little while ago. And now people, oh, here he is, I'll put it on here.
There you go. That might be better.
We can see
There we go.
bud will get a little bit darker in color. So this right here was a super, super light strain, so it's still pretty green and light. If you're starting with kind of a medium green shade to darker green, it's gonna look brown when it comes out.
Okay.
But it won't be burnt or anything like that. And now you literally could just eat this bud.
And what would happen if you ate a decarboxylated bud?
Well,
you would get high.
It's an edible at that
Okay,
point.
it's an edible.
It is an edible because
Okay.
really this active THC is just sitting on the plant material.
Okay.
And so when you think about how much THC is actually in here, because you're getting full activation and you're not getting any loss, you really are getting an incredible amount of THC, depending on the strain. So an average person probably is getting around, 20, 23% active
Okay.
THC, right? If you're, getting some good quality flower. Man, I was just out in California and I think I saw at the Cup, and there was a company, I can't remember what it was, but they had some flower testing out at 32% from SC Labs. I mean, I think that was the highest that I'd seen, and they were billing themselves as the highest in California, but let's just say 20%. Again, that's 200 milligrams in every gram. So if you wanted to get a 20 milligram edible, you literally would only have to break off 0.1
of that.
yeah, so think about how much that is, 0.1 for 20 milligrams. The idea that you could feed an entire dinner party with 1 gram. And so after this, you could do a lot of different things. You could take this, immediately eat it. We have a lot of people that do
Just
that.
like a medical.
Just eat it. A lot of women I noticed who are new to cannabis, who are kind of using it for health or wellness, they like to take a little bit and then mix it just with some applesauce or some Baby Bell cheese, and they just eat it down in one little thing. You have lots of people that love to make a butter and oil, so you could go and do a really quick butter and oil. You could take you can also take ethanol and do a quick wash with it to make a wax or a shatter. To make an oil.
Yep.
And
So Lucci's asking, what if you only want CBD? Could you just eat the raw bud as is?
No, CBD also has to be decarboxylated.
Ah, good question.
Yes,
Good
excellent question. So CBD needs to be decarboxylated. CBD actually requires a different time for decarb than THC. It likes to have a longer decarb, but it can actually be very volatile, CBD. So we did testing in the lab on this, is if you crank CBD up to a high temperature, you really get a lot of loss. And so customers that use our device, it also depends on the ratio of THC to CBD. So if you have something that's a 2-to-1 more ratio of THC to CBD, so 2-to-1 THC to CBD, one pass in the decarboxylator will decarb the CBD and the THC.
Okay.
If it's a CBD dominant, you need to run it through twice.
Okay, makes
and
sense.
again, CBD is definitely the next frontier of honing in and perfecting. And again, it does a great job with what most people have, which is a 1-to-1 ratio. And in fact, we're working with several hemp producers right now because again, they are decarbing, for CBD purposes to get that as well. So in addition to, I'll leave this out here, which is
All
a little
right.
guy that
Walk
we
us through. There
decarb.
we go. Yep, decarb.
And so while you can just go and eat it, or you can make an oil infusion, we knew that there were a lot of people that were going to want just a one-stop to go from the plant to medicine. And so we developed these capsules. So these capsules right here, we have 15 different formulations for these capsules, but they're already filled on one side with all the excipients that will help it absorb in the bloodstream. So this one right here is actually a MCT, coconut oil, and
coconut oil.
and melatonin. So you would pair this with an indica, and you would have a really great sleep aid. And this right here, could replace Ambien or, a lot of other OTCs. And this one right here is a B12 and caffeine. So you could pair, this would be great to pair with the juicy fruit for kind of a, uplifting, creative type of experience there. But it's really as simple as opening the capsule, taking the decarb plant. And again, you can actually weigh this out to know what the dose was. If we, started with some material that we knew was tested previously, either by the grower or the dispensary, because you're doing full active decarb, you can know that. So right here, within 3 seconds, I put together a pharmaceutical alternative that would just be simple and no need to kind of do lots of different things in the kitchen. We also, once it's active, and I love Decarbing Keef as well. We have a lot of professional edibles makers that use our device. The biggest question we get is, when are you making a bigger version? Because this problem of decarboxylation, it's not just a problem on the home side, it's a problem on the commercial side as well. So if you were to activate Keef, again, you could do really fun things like taking this or taking a Keurig cup and putting the tea in there with the Keef and just popping it in and making an infused tea. Again, using a coconut oil will definitely help. It will help with that absorption as well. We make some really cool topicals. So this one right here is a topical that we made with activated rosin and shea butter and coconut oil. So people love this, making this for, to treat the pain from fibromyalgia. This is a toner that we use, a facial toner as well. And we actually took some rosin and made a toner here. So again, it's just as simple as taking that rosin, and I'll show it to you in a minute just to show you the consistency that the rosin gets to. But it's literally as simple as taking the rosin, we mixed it in here, and then you can just go and make all of these different cannabis products. It cost us less than 75 cents each to make these lotions. And so again, the idea that you can really use much less in your whatever you're making, but then also start to make a lot more different things. That's the exciting thing about kind of the tools and the information that we're bringing to people.
Do you have plans to have your products in dispensaries?
Absolutely. So we actually are in a couple of stores up in Canada. So Canada is very interesting because they have a great medical and federally legal medical program, but there are no edibles allowed in that program. They just have very expensive low-dose oil. And so obviously that's a great market for us. And then we actually are in Thrive in Illinois. There are 2 Thrive locations that carry our product. But mostly we found, just direct to consumer. People are really excited about just learning and seeing the science as we continue the research and innovate. And they're really excited about us launching these capsules and wraps, which will be ready in just a few months.
What's the website they can go to?
So it's Ardent, A-R-D-E-N-T, cannabis.com, and you can find out all about decarboxylation and all about all of the fun things we do here at Ardent.
Wow, fantastic. How are we doing on our
consistency
test?
So
it's only been about what?
Now, I'm totally breaking protocol because we are not supposed to open this during the process. But I'd love for you guys to just take a look and see kind of what. See, it's starting to melt a little bit in there. But once we get deeper into that process, that will just really become an actual liquid. And when we turn it off, if we take it out right away and mix it, it would be very, very simple to do whatever we'd like with it.
So professionals are using your product for edibles. What do you find your at-home consumers? Is it the topicals?
So my favorite edible right now is Leisure Life from out in California. They use our device to decarb their keef to make medicated popcorn. So it's caramel and cheddar popcorn. And then we also have a couple of dispensaries that use our device to make capsules, make hash caps or, bud caps. And people at home, man, it all depends on the person, right? It really is about what you like and how you like to use cannabis. So we have people who have been making canna butter for 30 plus years that are just really excited about the fact that this does not smell. That you can decarb in the corner and you don't have to keep watching the oven. And it just really simplifies that process. We have a lot of people who are on RVs or, in places where they can't have an oven. And so the just ability, I throw this thing in my purse sometimes. And so, it just really travels well. It's only a 90 watts. So when it comes to being efficient and green, in so many different ways, we're green, but that's one of the ways as well. And but then, like I mentioned, the new people, we have a lot of new people who are just trying to use this for medicine, and they really they need something that is very familiar to them, like the other medicines that they've used, and something that will allow them to know and have the accuracy they're looking for. Okay. So part of it's about kind of like creating these products that will help, more and more people, like my grandmother or my aunt, start to be able to use this. And then, of course, there's the culinary world. We have a lot of chefs that use the decarboxylator because it helps make, the treats stronger and taste a lot better.
And they should look for Nova on your website. They should look for the Nova.
So they can look on the website for the Nova decarboxylator, and also people can go and check out the Lift decarboxylator as well, and they know that regardless, they are getting the best and most updated device.
That is unbelievable, fantastic, and lots of great comments. And awesome. I think there'll be some people there. Yes, we will put the website up when we publish this video. We'll tag Ardent so you can check out the decarboxylator and the options. And if you have any questions, of course, Lindsay is available, I'm sure, by email. You can ask her about any. I mean, this was like a science lesson for 20 minutes, as some people put. So thank you very much, Ardent. We appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed it from Cannabis.net. And look for the full article to be up next week. Take it easy, guys.
Bye.